Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the July General Thoracic Surgery Database user group call. On the call today, we have from the STS myself, Leanne Jones, Database Manager for Thoracic and Congenital Databases, Carol Crum, Senior Clinical Manager for the STS National Databases, Emily Conrad, STS Senior Database Coordinator. We also have Jane Hahn, Associate Director of Quality from the IQVIA team. We have Melanie Bent, Joe Brower, Michelle Choi. We've got Jeanette Hanna, Jean. It looks like, I think that might be everyone. So thank you all for joining me on the call today. Let's see here. I'll run through today's agenda to start us off. I'll provide a quick STS update. Then Emily will give us a quick AQO update, and then I'll turn things over to Joe and Melanie to provide their IQVIA update, and then we will finish off with our Q&A portion of the webinar. Just a friendly reminder to please submit any questions via the Q&A function. Also, when submitting your questions, please be sure to include your ticket number. If you've already contacted IQVIA tech support for an issue, again, the ticket number would be an RITM number. That'll just help Melanie and her team track the questions as they come in and as we try and tackle those, and that'll help them research any information as well while we're on the call. All right, for our STS updates, the General Thoracic Data Spec upgrade is continuing to move along. Beta testing of the DCF with the core group has been completed. STS and the surgeon leaders are currently working through that beta testing feedback from the core group. Once the DCF is finalized, STS and IQVIA will work to create the data specs, and a new training manual will be created. Also, we have the direct data entry within the IQVIA platform is now available for the General Thoracic Database. If you would like more information on the direct data entry option, please email us at stsdb@sts.org for additional details and information. Again, that's stsdb@sts.org. Also, beginning this month, STS will begin hosting quarterly new data manager webinars for the General Thoracic Database. These sessions will be beneficial for those new data managers or perhaps data managers that are still fairly new within their role. We'll be discussing how to access resources available to data managers, how to use and refer to your software specifications, your data specifications, as well as the training manual. Also, we'll go over how to submit clinical questions, understanding the data collection form, as well as numerous other topics. If you have any suggestions for items to be covered in the new data manager webinars, please feel free to email me directly with your ideas. We'd love to hear from you. And we want to make sure these new data manager webinars are beneficial to you as new data managers. So please let us know if you have any suggestions for additional topics to be covered. Before moving on to our AQO update, I just wanted to give a special shout out and a huge thank you to our core group members of beta testers. They spent numerous hours testing the data collection form and providing extremely valuable feedback. Again, thank you all for your time and dedication to the STS General Thoracic Database. Please know that we do appreciate everything that you do, and we are grateful for all the time and the feedback that you have provided for the DCF for this upgrade. Next, I'll turn things over to Emily Conrad, STS Senior Coordinator for the STS National Databases for our AQO update. Emily?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for inviting me, Leanne, to give this update. We're really looking forward to the virtual meeting this year for General Thoracic. The content will be on Wednesday, September 30th. Wanted to give you a little update. Our abstract submission and registration is up and running on our website. Abstracts are due on Friday, August the 7th. So if you have any great quality improvement projects or scientific abstracts, we would love to receive them. We're going to have a really nice e-poster area where you can go and click on the posters, see the presenter's photo, and there'll be a question and answer area so that you can interact with the authors. So we would love to have some e-posters. So please feel free to submit an abstract. We also have a preliminary agenda up on the website, so you can take a look at the program. I will just kind of run through some things that we're thinking about having for general thoracic. So there will be both recorded content and live sessions. For the recorded content, which you can watch anytime, that'll be talks like the risk model and public reporting, trachea, thymus, quality improvement. For live sessions, we'll talk about the version upgrade, lung cancer, esophageal cancer. We'll walk through the form. Lymph nodes, we'll have a What Data Managers Want to Know panel, and also give an update on complications and grading of complications. For registration pricing, if you have a question about that, it will be $150 for STS members and $200 for non-members if you want to do only one day of the program. If you're involved with other databases and you want all days, it will be $300 for STS members and $400 for non-members. Again, this information and being able to register is on our website. You can register online, or there's also a mail-in form. That is about all I have, and I see that there was a comment that the link might not be working in one part, so we'll have that updated. But if you want to, when you log into the STS website, you just go to the meetings tab and then live courses, and that's where you can click on advances in quality and outcomes, a data managers meeting. So, all right, that's all I got.
All right, thank you, Emily.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah.
Did you,
oh, yeah.
We did have one quick question from Nancy.
Oh, let's see. Will continuing education hours be available? Yes, they will. Okay. Yep. There sure will be.
All right, great. Thank you.
And we're hopefully going to be in Denver in 2021.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Emily. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Denver, so fingers crossed that does happen. So thank you so much, Emily. All right. Next, I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Melanie and Joe for our IQVIA update.
Okay, and I don't think that I got to introduce Joe. So hello, everyone. It's Melanie. Let me introduce Joe Brower, who is on our support Tier 2 team. And he will be sharing the updates regarding what's upcoming and scheduled for our August release. And then after that, we will talk about, of course, updated reports and just make sure that everyone is just aware of where you're able to see the available reports. Okay, so with that, I will have Joe start off with sharing updated items that will be released August the 1st. Joe, over to you.
All right, thanks, Melanie. And hi, everyone. I'm glad to be joining you for these calls. So let's go ahead and review some of the things that are going to be fixed in this upcoming release for August. The first one listed here is STS 3219, the harvest summary report showing race not documented for earlier demographic versions. So for this issue, what's happening is the harvest summary report, it's invalidly catching the race documented data element as missing on records that use demographics version 2.3, and that version did not yet have the race documented question, so it shouldn't be triggering that. So this fix will remove those issues from that report. Next is STS 3032. This is the missing variable report. The percentage for some users in some situations for some data elements, it's showing the percentage as a gray box, and then the total case count isn't showing up. It'll say like 10 out of and then nothing. And so obviously that's not working like it's supposed to. We believe we've identified the cause of this, and it should be corrected in the August release. STS 3313. We're going to be adding some on-screen guidance for those of you who are doing direct data entry. This guidance will be added on the Uploader tab. Essentially, if you're doing direct data entry, the expectation would be that you're not submitting files. And so this guidance kind of gives you some clarification on when files should be submitted, when you should stop submitting files. clarifies that uploads should not be performed once you've begun direct data entry. So any remaining uploads that you might have to do, any data you do still have yet to transfer from your other vendor, should be taken care of before you begin direct data entry. And then once you have begun direct data entry, you can start making any edits or changes directly within the IQVIA system instead. And so that text will appear on the upload tab after the August release. And last on this tab, on this slide, is STS 3347. Also, in regard to direct data entry, we identified an issue where error messages were not clearing after they had been addressed, and so that will be fixed as well. All right, next slide. Melanie, I think you were going to hop in and address.
Yep, I will give an update on these. So I had reported these in a previous user group or webinar call. So I just wanted to make sure that we come back to them and just give you a status of what happened with these, since we did have them listed in another presentation. So after, and these were under review at that time. So after we did further analysis, we were able to determine that these issues were either they were not valid due to it being isolated within one of our testing environment, and that's STS 2209. Specifically on the dashboard, we were encountering an issue within our test environment and was not able to reproduce that. So 2209 is no longer a valid defect. So just wanted to call that out because again, it was listed on a previous presentation. The next one is the STS 3368. This issue was reported in regards to the MBR was displaying variables as missing. After further review, the actual DAT file that was being uploaded, we were able to verify that the information for those fields that were flagged as missing were actually missing. So in that instance, the user was advised to contact the vendor to determine why the values were not being pulled into the actual DAT extract. The next one is 3383, and this is in regards to the validation alert error that are specific to non-analyzed and those specific questions for non-analyzed cases. In this instance, on the DQR, there is a filter available to basically remove those cases from view when going through and doing your review. The questions will appear because there is at this point no prevention of saying that this case is non-analyzed specifically based on those questions. It is looking for answers for those questions. So we are looking further in regards to another way of doing the error and warning suppression. But for now, in that specific instance, it was to just deselect the option to not view the non-analyzed cases because they didn't want to review those. So it was just a training item. And then let's go to the next slide. And these items here are currently under review. They will not be included in the August 1st release, but we will have them slated immediately after. So the first one is 2411, which is on the missing variable report. The patient middle name is being flagged as missing, and that actually should not be added in the consideration for missing. So we did have a couple of sites that basically reported the same issue. So we will be addressing that. Next is 2993, where the MBR is displaying variables from a previous form version. In that specific instance, the time frame that was selected should only display 2.41 variables, but there were 2.3 variables that were discontinued that still were persisting and appearing on the report. So we will be addressing that. And then the last one is related to the data quality report, which is STS 3366. And it's the category second variable. It's triggering an error for all of the 2.3 records, and it's not required. So we do need to go ahead and update the logic to make sure that we are are able to suppress the errors related to those. So we got the updated guidance, and we'll be making that change. Okay, so those are the last couple of items that we currently have at the moment. And of course, others that may have come in, we are reviewing, but these are further along in the process. So if you do have a current issue that support had provided you a ID, an STS ID for, and you do not see it here, we are still reviewing those items, okay? And we will provide further updates on those. Okay, let's go to the next slide. All right, so upcoming releases, and really it's in regards to what became available within July, we of course launched the direct data entry. So that is now available. And of course, what's coming up in August are the defect fixes and improvements that we will be doing for August the 1st. And I believe if there are any other identified releases, we would of course keep you all updated. And let you know what other improvements and fixes are coming. And then with that August release, we will be doing an IQVIA platform update. So again, it's updating that version of the application from one version to next version, which will include enhanced. So again, once we get closer, we will be sharing more information via, of course, the notification section. Once it's final and it's released, we'll be sharing it in notifications, and also we will be emailing out to the vendors so that they are also aware. Let's go ahead and get to the next slide. Yep. So I know we've covered this before for those that have been on the more recent calls, where we have shared an update for the critical summary report. Bringing this one back up again, because usually we get a couple of questions that are related to the report. And also what we do is just try to see if we can walk through a couple of the reports just in general, just to make sure everybody's on the same page. So with the critical summary report, the DQR critical summary report, let's go to the next slide, sorry. The way that you would access that is through any existing data quality report, any existing report at the moment. And of course, the way that you would get there is through one of the submissions where you have the view reports link. Once you select the view reports link, the DQR is going to open, and there will be an additional tab that's going to be available. Let's go to the next slide and we can show where that is on the page. Okay, so if you take a look, when you initially open the data quality report, you will of course see the common report that you're used to reviewing. But if you look at the very bottom left, there is another tab that is available, and it's called critical summary. And that critical summary report is going to allow you to get information that is related to the submissions. So let's take a look at the next slide, and it will show you the report interface. And so once you navigate by clicking that tab, you will have the ability to enter in the submission dates, okay? And then this is one of the questions that actually came up on another call, where we had a user that entered in surgery date. So I do want to make that distinction that it's not by surgery date, it's by submission date. And the submission is your upload submissions. So from the time that you started uploading, those are the dates that you would be entering. Okay, so the from date, you would go ahead and enter in that. In this example, I have January 1st. It would be a little bit later in regards to general thoracic, because I believe we opened up a little bit later on, not January 1st. But then of course, the range is through May the 1st. So it's going to take a look to see all of the submissions that were done during that time frame. And so once you have in your submission dates, then you would just select the run report option, and then it will generate your report with the details that you're seeing here. So you'll see that the first column is going to be the submission date, and then the upload ID that's associated with that. And then within that submission, you'll be able to see what is the very first surgery date, and then what is the very last surgery date. So those cases, that range, will be available for you here. And then you'll be able to see whether or not the status of that submission either failed or passed. And if you also take a look to the very left, you'll see that underneath the Run Report button, there is a filter option, which is file status. And you're able to filter if you do not want to see anything that was failed. You want to just take a look at your past. You could just deselect that option if it's available. And I say that because it's dynamic. If you do not have any failed submissions, you would not see an option for failed. Okay, so just know that, you know, some may go back and they'll look at that, they'll run the dates and then say, well, I don't have a failed actual filter. And that's because you don't have any failed results, which is good. So you would have your file status, and then going back to the middle, you would then be able to review your total number of records that were included in the submission, and then you'll be able to look out of that total, what was successful, what was failed, and what also was identified as records that did not have any updates. So you're able to see all of that information here. And then the last option, which is the data quality report column, that is going to allow you to navigate to the actual submission data quality report. And so you're able to, if you wanted to take a deeper dive and look specifically at that submission, you're able to do that from here. If there were any critical messages associated with that submission entry, the very bottom of the report, you'll see where it says critical messages. And that is where you will have the details related to any critical messages that occurred during that actual submission. So just wanted to point that out. A lot of times you'll see, especially on the failed, you'll see that it gives you the general status of the failure. And so you would see that type of information listed there also. So just wanted to do a quick review there. I think we can just quickly take a look, and I'll share my screen. We'll just take a quick look, and I'll start off with looking at the dashboard. I have that up.
I stopped share, Melanie, so you can share your screen.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone should see the dashboard. Is that what you see, Leanne?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, great.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I went ahead and I entered in some criteria already, generated this report. I'm going to try to see if we can just go through. We'll take a look at missing variable, take a look at harvest, but I'll start off with the dashboard. And just so you know, and I may have said it before, but each one of these sections that you see here, those are individual reports. So sometimes you'll see that they'll pop in and they'll pop in individually, because we've had that question too. They'll say, well, why are they kind of iterating in? They're individual reports, and as the information is pulling in, you'll see that it populates that list. So just wanted to call that out. Another thing that I've been asked recently is in regards to sometimes depending on your screen size, I've been asked, well, is there a way to maybe make the layout a little bit bigger? And you can. So if you take a look at the very bottom left, you'll see where it says GTSD Participant Dashboard Report. And if you were to left click on that, you'll see that left click, right click, I think it's right click. Yep, right click. If you were to right click on the tab, you'll see that there's an option that says open page in new window. And what this will do is open that in another tab, and you'll have more real estate on the page for you to review. So that was another recent question that came up. So just wanted to show that tip just in case if others may not have known, because that little tab, it does not specifically say, hey, click me. So I just wanted to share that tip with you. Okay, so other things that you're able to do, of course, is expand the visualization if you wanted to review, let's just say, the listing that's in the center, this tabular report. You can actually make this a full-size view. So if you were to right-click on that, you will get a menu which will give you an option to maximize the visualization. So you're able to then just take the entire real estate of that page and then review that information. Okay. The downside to this is, of course, if you needed to do the drill down, you would need to be in the minimized view. So let me just take you back. And the way that I got there, there was little tools that actually showed up at the very top of that screen. Let me just show you again, because sometimes they hide. Let me just quickly show you that. You'll see that there's tools here in regards to double-sided arrow that's pointing at each other. This will restore that visualization. If you wanted to move to the different components in the dashboard, you would use the previous arrow or you would use the next arrow to shift you through each of the components in the dashboard. Okay. But in regards to seeing the drill down results within this tabular section, I just wanted to show you that you, in order to see that, you would be in this view, select that actual cell, and then the information would of course show up in the list here. Now, the other thing, and let me just see that it's going to work, but if I were to go back to that previous view, let's just go back here, and I were to select that, you're able to actually get to that full list. So you do have the ability to select the cell. The thing is, you would have to go back to that previous component, that tabular list. And then if you wanted to see another one, and if you wanted to review the results for that, still staying in this same type of view, you can hit the next arrow and it will give you the results in that, since it's basically moving you through each of the sections on the report. Okay, so I will stop here with the dashboard. And again, in regards to exporting, we do have that ability, of course, to export, okay, Excel or the tables. So quickly show you those. All right, so coming out of the dashboard report, just shift on over to quickly to missing variable. I'm just going to go ahead and put in a range. I'm in a test environment, so I do have to, I'm hoping that I have some info that I can use. So let me just change this to 2019. And let's take a look at the end of the year for 2019. Okay, and then let's try and generate this report. Hopefully they're not doing any updates at the moment. Okay. Give me one moment. Let's see. I think I may have picked the wrong time to go in here. All right. I'm just going to go back. I will go back and let me try one more time. If not, it may be that they may be doing updates and we have to switch. But what we could do, of course, is get to questions. Let me just try one more time. I'll just change it to 2018. Okay. Let's try 2018 through 2019. And if it doesn't generate, we may have to just go right into the questions and come back to it if needed. Yeah, I think they may be updating. All right, Leanne, I'm going to pause here because maybe we have some questions and I'll let that run and we can get through some questions in the meantime, or finish through the rest of the presentation, of course, and then get to
Okay.
So
that sounds like a plan.
Sharing.
And all right, can you see my screen?
Yep, I can see it.
Okay, perfect. All righty. Here, I'm just going to cover the support plan. I'm sure you guys are all very familiar with this, and I just want to continue to share and review. For questions related to your data submissions, data files, data quality report, harvest summary report, please reach out to IQVIA Tech Support at ststechsupport@iqvia.com, or call the tech support phone number for live and in-person assistance. IQVIA Tech Support live support is available from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. Please ensure when you do contact IQVIA support that you are issued a ticket number. And again, this will be a number starting with the RITM number for your specific issue. Also, if Tier 1, as you know, is unable to address your question, they will notify you that your issue is being escalated to Tier 2 support for assistance, or they will forward on to STS accordingly. And then your questions will be addressed by either Tier 2 or STS, dependent upon the question. And then Tier 2 would work directly with the database vendor if needed. And then if your question was in regards to a specific analysis, STS would work directly with DCRI, and then we would follow up accordingly. Also, we wanted to bring to your attention, we have been finding that some of the tech support email responses have been going to participant spam or junk folders. So if you have submitted a ticket for an issue and have not received an email response, typically within, at least within 2 business days, please be sure to check your spam or junk folder. Again, if you don't see anything there, please, again, feel free to follow up with STS Tech Support. Here we have a listing of the current resources that are available to you for support. We have the STS National Database webpage, tech support that we just covered, as well as the phone number. We also have the STS National Database feedback form that is out on the STS National Database webpage. Resource documents that are available on the STS National Database web pages. The database transition page is a great resource. You'll find webinar information, FAQs, data go live checklists, our tier level support document that we just covered, training videos, as well as a link to IQVIA. As always, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me directly. Here's my email and phone number. If you have STS database operational questions, specifically regarding your contract, usernames, passwords, emails, your contact information specifically, please email us at stsdb@sts.org, and we'll be happy to help. Before we get into our Q&A, I just wanted to give the dates again for our next upcoming general thoracic database webinars. So please be sure to mark your calendars. Again, on July 30th at 1 p.m. Central Time, we will have our new data manager webinar. On our next monthly webinar is scheduled for August 12th at 1:30 Central Time. And then our next user group webinar is scheduled for August 26th at 2:30 Central Time. So again, please be sure to mark your calendars for these webinars, and we hope you are able to join us. So next, I think we will go ahead and hop into our open discussion, our Q&A. Again, if you have questions, please feel free to submit them using the Q&A function. And also, if you have submitted a ticket with tech support for your issue, please be sure to include that in your response. So if you guys are ready, I think we can go ahead and tackle our questions. Our first question: Do we have to use Apollo to enter cases, or can we still input the old way? And if yes, we can use the old way for how much longer? I'm not understanding what you mean by the old way. If you can clarify, but there is a directed, like I said, there's a directed entry option available for participants through IQVIA. You would either use your current STS software, or you could email stsdb at sts.org if you're interested in the direct data entry option for more information about what's available through the direct data entry option. But I'm not understanding what you mean, still input the old way. So if you could clarify, maybe we could get more information for you. Our next question: Is there a reason IQVIA is unable to provide a way for us to sort by surgery date?
On what specifically? I think we need a little bit more clarification on where this sorting is not happening.
Right. Yeah, Heidi, if you could just clarify with if there's a specific report you're referring to, that would be helpful, and then we could go from there. Our next question, our first question is more of a FAQ. So we're, if you could submit that via the FAQs, that would be helpful. Our next question, what is the name of the form needed to add a surgeon and anesthesiologist to my list? That's the Schedule B that's out on the STS webpage. I don't know if Carol, if you could put a link into the chat box, or I could actually try and navigate to that while we're on the call. Okay. And is there a place to find more details on the cerebral perfusion section? I'm not sure what kind of details. So if you could clarify, you can also feel free to email me directly, Liz, if you'd like, and I'm happy to answer your questions directly offline as well. Our next question, read dashboard reports. Are the components of each report preset by IQVIA or user defined?
Hi, this is Melanie again. It's preset by IQVIA. So STS defines what they would want on the dashboard, and it's set. So it's not something that is changeable.
Okay. Thank you. And Heidi had just followed up Melanie, and she was referring to the data quality report for the surgery date.
That wasn't a part of the initial requirements for that. We can take that as additional feedback to include surgery date as another column to be able to sort, but we can definitely take that back.
Thank you, Melanie. Our next question, what is the latest estimate when spring 2020 harvest results will be released? Hi, Barb. At this time, the data is getting to analysis to IQVIA. We do not have, at DCRI, so we do not have an official release date yet. Once we have more information available, we will share that with sites, but we do not have a set date at this time. But again, we will be sharing that information with you all as soon as we have more information on a date of when those results will be available. So we do appreciate your patience. And we will get you more information as soon as we have that available. Our next question is a way to get a list of outstanding issues that have been reported. I'm asking so I can check if my issue has already been reported.
To pull what everyone has actually been reported, some of those items may not apply. I'm just trying to think. It's a
This is Jeanette.
I think we do have the known issues lists that are posted in these webinars. So those are certainly available for you to reference outside these calls. But in general, we would really recommend that you reach out to us if you're experiencing an issue. If something's really big, then we'll have a notification posted so that people are aware that something's happening. But otherwise, we wouldn't want you to think that we already know about it. There's a chance that you may be the first one who's informing us of it. So really appreciate you asking if you could do that due diligence first, but we would actually prefer to hear from you so that we can make sure to work through your specific scenario. So if you're open to that, we'd really appreciate you reaching out.
And also, I just wanted to point out, and all of these webinars are PDFs, so you can go back to the website if you would like to go to the slide deck, each presentation. If you want to print out, the known issues that we've already gone through, those are available out on the website in a PDF format, so you can just go and print out the known issues slides if you would like to refer to those as well.
And also
so that is available.
The notification tabs, right? Leanne and Jeanette.
Yes, we post to notifications also.
Yep. Okay.
And Melanie, I think Heidi's just clarifying. She'd like to be able to search the DQR and the critical summary reports by surgery date, as well as submission date. So we can definitely take that back. Thank you, Heidi.
I just want to, this is Jeanette, just on that point,
Yes,
we use the DQR, what's available in the DQR as the basis for showing the details in the harvest summary report. So I know, Heidi, you called out specifically the DQR, and I thought you said critical summary. So we might want to apply the same to harvest summary. Would that also be of value? If you could chime in the Q&A and just let us know if you'd like it there too, then we'll consider that as we take it back. Thank you.
All right, our next question for Mary. I ran a DQR today for an upload. I did. Major minor filters were not working and errors were showing for minor cases even though I filtered them out.
Yeah, we would need, Mary, hopefully you've already contacted support. We would actually need to take a look to see what is happening when the report is being generated and be able to take a further review of that. So if you haven't already contacted our support team, please do, and then we can go ahead and work with you on seeing what's happening.
Right, and this person I think was clarifying, they were saying their dashboard report, they had not received their dash report from IQVIA. Again, if you could clarify, I don't know if you're not able to see the dashboard or if you could clarify what you're referring to. And if you and again, if you haven't already contacted tech support, I would encourage you to reach out to them directly as well. They would be able to assist, but I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to as dash report. I'm assuming it's just the dashboard.
Yeah, so if you have started a submission, just a reminder that from that submission, you should be able to access the data quality report. And then also if you go to the operational report section on your left-hand side of the system navigation, in there is where you would access the non-adjusted or non-risk adjusted dashboard. So that's what's available currently. If you are not able to access those areas, please do contact the support team as was suggested.
Thank you, Jeanette. I don't have any other questions at this time. So if you do have questions, please feel free to submit those via the Q&A. In the meantime, I just wanted to pull up the STS website and point out where to find the Schedule A. On the STS, click on the STS National Data, I'm sorry, let me go back. From the STS homepage, click on Registries and Information, click on the link for STS National Databases. Scroll down to the Important Resources section, and if you click on the link for Database Forms, this will bring you to Database Forms webpage. Here you'll find a link to the STS Participant Contact Form, the Schedule A, the Schedule B, as well as the vendor licensing form, and also you'll have other resources listed here. We have our database participant roles descriptions here. Also, if you are looking for information, again, as Emily was talking about for AQO, from the STS homepage, if you click on the link for Learning Center, click on the STS Learning Center link, and we go down to annual meeting. Oh, I'm sorry, I lied. Where is it?
Leanne, you click on meetings.
Thank you.
Sorry, I was just going to say that. Sorry, Leanne, on meetings.
Meetings. Okay, I'm sorry. I was going back to my. Oh my gosh, my
You're
webinar
okay.
from yesterday.
You're
It's okay, yes. And then
Meetings,
live courses.
calendar,
Yeah.
Yep,
There you
calendar events and live courses, advances in quality and outcomes of data managers meetings. Good Lord. Thank you, Emily, Carol.
You're fine.
So all of our information is located here. I'm still not seeing any additional questions come in. I don't know if Carol or Melanie or Jeanette, if you all have any other additional information that you would like to bring up that needs to be passed along to anyone. I have about 4:16 Eastern time, so I'm not seeing anything.
Do you want to do a poll about the timing of the webinars at all for the general thoracic?
Sure. So we do have a poll. I'll go ahead and launch the poll. So I'm going to launch the poll. We did, but I think I don't mind doing it again to see if if everyone's still in agreement. Can you see the poll?
Yep,
Yeah.
I can see
Okay.
it.
So in addition to the monthly webinars or the user group calls too frequent, we have once a month is fine. Let's do every other month, and let's do it quarterly. So it would be nice to see. We just want to make sure that we make use of everyone's time accordingly. So please just let us know how frequently you would like to have these user group calls.
And I have another one I'm going to add. I'm going to add in there, Leanne, if you can see it.
Okay. Let me see. All right. So it's looking like everyone's in agreement that once a month is fine. So about 69% saying once a month is fine. I'm going to go ahead.
Oh, and there's a comment that says,
Yeah, so
it would be great if the ACSD times did not overlap with any of the general thoracic, and they do not. So if, Crystal,
right.
if there's something that maybe we're not catching, just let us know, and we'll adjust the times,
Right.
but we try not to do that. And I looked at the ACC schedule too for the NCDR calls, and I tried to make sure we didn't overlap with them either.
Okay. All right. And let's see here. And I'm not seeing the other question, Carol.
You might have to
The
stop
poll.
sharing to show the other question.
Okay. All right. Yes, ma'am, I see it.
Okay.
All right. And here's our next question. Are you finding these webinars helpful, yes or no? So please let us know how we can, if we will, again, we would like to make sure that we are making good use of our time and giving you information that you feel is helpful. If there are topics that you think, with additional topics that you think that you would like to see covered in educational sessions, please let us know. So we would definitely, again, love to hear your feedback on things you would like to hear in these monthly webinars and the user group calls. So please let us know.
Yeah, that's helpful. Because if they're not useful, then we got to switch them up a little bit.
Yep. Again, and also if you have any feedback at all, we have the STS National Database feedback form out on the website. So we would love to hear from you. All right, it looks like around about 46% of today's participants have voted, so 93% say they're helpful, so that's good news. So again, please feel free to share any ideas, comments. We'd love to hear from you for future calls. All right. And I'm going to share those results so you guys can see those. All right, I still don't have any additional questions coming in. If anyone doesn't have anything else to add, I would let everyone have the rest of the hour back. I, again, want to be respectful of your time. So thank you, everyone, for joining today's call. Carol, team, does anyone else have any other information they'd like to share before we call it a day for the call?
Great job, Leanne and Melanie and Joe. Thank you. And
Okay.
Emily, of course. Thanks.
Yes, thank you, team. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. I hope you all have a great week and a great weekend coming up. So again, please feel free to reach out to me directly if you have any additional questions or concerns. I'm happy to help in any way. So I hope you all have a great rest of the day. Thank you, everyone.